Wah, wah, wah. What's happening, everybody? It's your boy. Yes, sir. We back. It's Monday. What's good, everybody? How's everybody do? Welcome to Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. I am he, your host, and today listen, this may be the shortest podcast I've ever done in all the years that we've been podcasting. But this is going to be really strong. But this podcast, listen closely to me, is specifically for you to break out. That's what it's going to talk about. So today I'm going to just be talking about freedom. That's what we're going to talk about today. Just freedom. Now, we can give a whole bunch of accolades and things about freedom, but today we want to talk about freedom. So I want to welcome everybody in from all over the world, and I want to take a time to talk to those that come in and listen to us week in and week out. Thank you. I can't even imagine a few years ago me even having a podcast, much less going on, the sixth year, we in the sixth season, just doing our thing. But just thank you. Thank you. There are some other guests, that we're going to have coming on and all of those good things. But I just want to say thank you to each of you for logging in each week. I'm going to ask a favor. If you guys would share it, send it out to your friends and ask them to be a part of our family. Send out the YouTube link, and y'all can see me in some of my crazy faces that I make and all of those things. But I just want to say thank you. Thank you. All right. For everybody that's logging in, regardless of where you are, anywhere around the world, thank you for logging in. You could have been doing anything else, but you are absolutely logging into what I consider the best podcast, period. What's good, everybody? What's good? So let's get into it. This podcast, I don't even want it to be long, but I want us to look at it in depth because we're talking about freedom. Now, you give all kind of definitions and all that stuff, but I want you guys to listen to this part when I talk about freedom. All right? Listen to this. Now, for me, is breaking free from internal bondage, fears, or harmful patterns to live authentically. Let me rewind that. Come on back. Come get this. So this definition I'm sharing with you is simply this. Breaking free from internal bondage, fear, or harmful patterns to live authentically. Now, simply this can mean whether you're repenting, you're releasing negative influences, friends, family members, relatives, associates, people you don't like, and renewing your mind with truth and purpose. We can start the podcast right there. We can just go on with our business, but just think about it. So let's just break down this. We're talking about freedom. So breaking free from internal bondage. So first, let's talk about internal, our bondages and the things that we brought forward and things that we're holding ourselves. We are chained, right? So what type of internal bondage do you have? We can talk about everybody else, but what type of internal bondage do you have? Because we're talking about being free. But what type of internal bondage do you have? A few weeks ago in my prayers and for some of y'all be like, Stanley, you pray? Yep, I sure do. I pray a lot. But when you think about in our prayer, and we're talking about bondage, I want you guys to consider something. We talk about internal bondage, but I want to add something for you guys to consider to perhaps shine a light on perhaps some dark corners or things we may have overlooked. What are some things that we are completely blind about? That's bondage. What are some things that we hold dear to us that's not even true and that's keeping us bound, right? Now, I'm going to give you one. And some of y'all might laugh. Some of y'all might throw a shoe at the radio or throw a shoe at your computer. But let me give you one. As I got older, or when I was growing up, I should say, I thought, mic on? Yep, the mic on. I thought if I didn't go to church on Sunday, I was going straight to hell at some point that next week. Yeah, let me say it again. I was so bound into going to church on Sunday that I thought if I didn't go to church on Sunday, in my own mind, I was going straight to hell. That's right. I said it out loud. I did. I was bound by that whole thought, the bondage, the fear of literally not going to church. I was like, hey, look, it doesn't matter if I was out drinking the night before. I might be in church with a hangover, hurting, but I was going to be in church. And some people say, well, what's wrong with that? Because you were bound. That's not true. That's not true. If you going to church to uplift God, you going to church for, those spiritual things, not, because somebody said if you don't go to church, you go. But I was so bound by that thing. I had shackles, and I was not just terrified, I was petrified. Like I was feared that with the biggest. And if I didn't go, for whatever reason, if I didn't make it, man, that Sunday, I felt horrible. I was like, Lord God, forgive me. I was on my knees 750 times. Not about the drink, about the obsessive drinking. I was bound by, okay, God, I ain't gonna drink no more, but Lord, I didn't go to church. And I just kept going and going. I was simply bound by that, right? And it wasn't true. It just wasn't true. So what are some of the things in your thoughts, in where you are, that perhaps you are bound by? What are some of those things? I'm not going to give you all of mine, but what are some of the things that you're bound by? Some of the things you thought were true, but actually were not true. It was just to keep you in a particular place, right? What is that? What are we doing today in our lives to keep us from being free? What is that? What are we not doing? What are we lying to ourselves about so we don't be free? Let me tell you something. Another one. This is me. I'm putting all my business out in these streets today. At one point, I was so concerned what others thought that I was literally shackled and bound by what other people thought and said. Yes. It could be something as simple as your attire, your dress attire. When I say I was bound by it, I was absolutely bound by it. Truly bound by it. Because I was like, okay, if I put this on and that on, or what I'm gonna put on, or I don't think, they say, they say, if I have this on, or if I have that on, or this or that. And I was just so bound by that I was not even living authentically. I was just bound by it. If I have these colors on, you must be gay. If I had these colors on, you must be a freak. If you had these colors on, you must be a hypocrite. It was just crazy, right? That's the truth. And I had to literally get myself out of concern of others. People in my business, and now, somebody be like, oh, I don't necessarily like that shirt. I didn't wake up this morning to impress you. I put this on for me, not for you. Right? But listen, y'all got to be honest with yourself to get free. I was truly bound by that. I mean, oh my goodness. I'm just not. Let me give you something else, right? I would always hold my tongue. Now, this is from a respect standpoint. I'm not talking about snapping and going off and calling people out their name. But like if my mom or my dad would say something, if I didn't agree with it, most of the time I wouldn't say anything. And I ain't gonna say I would listen and go do it. But when I say young, I'm not talking when I was in my single digits or just turning 10 or 12. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking when I got of age and own crib, all this other stuff. They may say something and I may not agree with it, but I still didn't say anything. And it could be totally wrong. I mean totally wrong. But I didn't say anything. Right? I didn't say anything. And let me give you this example. This just happened last week. I think it was like last Thursday or Friday or Saturday. My mom is on her vacation. And we were just talking and chatting, right? And my mom I don't know how we got to this, and my mom said something about the car. She said, when you gonna wash your truck? You're just like, when you gonna wash your car, right? And I just said, when I get ready. Now, I didn't say it disrespectfully for all your people thinking I'm getting out there going crazy. No, it was nothing disrespectful and nothing rude to my mom and all of that stuff. And she said that. But the way I answered her, I was like, well, Mom, I don't really say anything about your Cadillac or you're this or you're that, right? When they say something, and she started to laugh. And she was like, you sure got that right. Right? Now, I'm saying that respectfully because it's my mom. So I'm not saying that we were out there just going off on my mom. But here's my point to it. I didn't agree with it. There was a reason why I didn't do it. But it's not for her to tell like this and then I'm supposed to jump up and go do it because she said, no, we're not doing those games no more. I love my mom. And I listen to her. I listen closely to her. But, yeah, no, I wasn't doing it on that, right? And I'm saying that because sometimes you have to break free. Here's another one, free game for those that are married. Y'all have to break away from your parents. Leave your parents and cling to each other. Not keep your parents in the bedroom or your grandparents in the bedroom with you. No, we have to break free of that. We truly have to break free of that. I cannot wait to hear the comments because some of y'all are going to be like, well, it's your mom. You should. No. We're not doing them games anymore, right? So that's what it is, right? What about the harmful patterns? I created some horrible patterns. Yes, I did. I've created some horrible patterns. Back in the day, I used to drink. I'm talking about drink. Not play drink. I'm talking about drink. Right? Drink. That was horrible patterns for my health. I mean, just horrible patterns. I remember even, I'm originally from New Orleans, and I remember like every, crawfish season, if you will, right? I mean, I may eat crawfish if it's 7 days in a week. If I could eat crawfish 7 days in a week, I'm going to eat crawfish 7 days in a week. That's how much I love it. But how much sodium was I consuming? Now, some people be like, oh, yeah, well, no, that's creating a pattern that can be harmful to your health. We're not doing that. How many patterns are we creating mentally that's harmful to us? We're believing people's negativity and not believing who we are and whose we are. So we have those things that we have to consider, right? And again, y'all heard me talk about the internal bondage and the fear. Now you're talking about the harmful patterns. So what other harmful patterns did we create overall? Let me give you some freedom things, right? Autonomy in decision making. Making choices based on your own genuine interests with no external pressure. Just think about that for a second. Making your own genuine interests. Your own decisions based on your own genuine interests. So if you have a genuine interest, I don't know, in football. No, I'm going to do something off. Let's say in America, excuse me, in America, most people go to, like the NFL and the football games and so on and so forth. What if you're a person that actually don't like football, but you like, I don't know, let's say soccer, right? You like soccer instead. Well, when you make a decision, somebody give you some tickets to football, you absolutely going to hate it. And you say, I don't want those tickets. And everybody is going crazy. Well, you made a decision based on your genuine interest, not external pressure. Your mom or your dad or your cousin or your whoever, you should have got them tickets. We could have just gave them to somebody else. All of this other stuff. No, I'm not interested. But your decision making, when you're free, you're making that decision based on your own genuine interest, not somebody else's. Let me give you another one. Self-direction. The ability to shape your life in a way that reflects your own personal identity and aspirations. Your own personal identity and aspirations. What are you looking to do? What do you aspire to do? People like to say, oh, I'm going to be a doctor, a lawyer. Okay, that's great. Or you're going to be this. But what if somebody say, hey, I want to be a librarian? People look at them crazy and what? They don't have libraries. They're going to give you all of this negative stuff. But when you're free and you know exactly what you want to do, it's something about that creates power. And I want to be a librarian. Well, you're doing it for your own personal identification or your own personal aspirations, not for what somebody else is saying. Somebody may say, I want to absolutely make $250,000 a month. And others may say, hey, that's, I genuinely just want to make a nice $60,000, $70,000, have a little nice house for me and be able to do and go how I want to do, be and go. And that's fine, because that's that person being free for themselves, because that's their genuine interest. That's what they aspire to do. So you can't be upset with that, right? But that's their freedom. Here's something that's to help a lot of people. One thing to help you get free is get out of other people's business. That one free of charge. If you get out of other people's business, you will become free yourself and just getting out of other people's business. But I digress. All right. So let me go to another one. Inner responsibilities. Recognizing that freedom also requires self-control. Listen to this again. Recognizing that freedom also requires self-control. Self-control, reflection, and the courage to act on your own convictions. Woo! Yes, Lord, that's good right there. You know what? We could just close out this thing because it's just start. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Your own inner responsibility, recognizing that freedom also requires self-control. Just because, you're free, that does not mean you could go out and just do whatever it is that you want to do. You got to have self-control. You have to obey the laws. Most of us got to obey the laws, the Constitution of the United States of America, your state constitution, your ordinances, and so on, right? But if you look at it, you still have to have self-control. Self-control. Reflection. Why am I doing this, right? Is it for my identity, my aspirations? Is it my genuine interest? You have the self-control to do it. So you have those things. And then the courage to act on your own convictions. Family, let me share this story for you guys. I can't remember if I said this story to you guys before or not. So back in the day, I was on the police department. way back in, and as I like to say, my yesteryear. Matter of fact, I'm ringing a bell on this one. Ding, 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 ding. You might want to pay attention to this one because you're talking about the courage to act on your own convictions. Listen to me. Family, listen to me. So we had the privilege to work in a specialized, well, a few specialized units, but this one I'm referring to, we worked in a specialized unit. And in working in this specialized unit, we worked on a police department. We worked Monday through Friday. We were off Saturday and Sunday. Man, that's beautiful. And most people on the police department would have killed for that. They're like, oh my God, yes. And then on Saturdays, we had the opportunity to work overtime. And this is when overtime was very, very scarce. But we had the ability to work overtime. This is good. So it was like, okay, we work overtime if we want to. And so then it got to a point where we just did it in rotation. You know, some people wanted to work overtime, some people didn't. Oh, but long as we had the coverage, everything was good. So collectively, the unit decided that they didn't want to work on Saturdays or Sundays. They just want straight off, no overtime, and they called it mandatory overtime, but you guys understand what I mean. You had to work Saturday. It's only for like 4 hours too, because at midday you were gone. You were out of there. Toodles. And so the unit just thought, I don't want to work Saturdays. Well, you know, before we never had to work Saturdays. And they kept going. So they passed around this letter that they wanted everybody in the unit to sign to go to the commanding officer for the district, or if you're not in New Orleans, to the precinct. And you know, they passed it around. Now we never, at least to my knowledge, they never had a direct conversation with the commander of the specialized unit. Never had that actual conversation. Never had that conversation. Okay, no problem. So they decided to write this letter, nice letter, and said we want off on Saturdays and Sundays. We don't feel we should work on Saturdays and Sundays, and so on and so on and so on and so on, right? And so they passed it around to everybody signing, and they came to your boy. So they was like, hey, Stanley. I was like, what's up? And they go into this explanation. Now, for your boy, I knew something was off because there was hushing, and they were kind of chap and hoo-hooing. And I was like, huh? And it was like, yeah, you know, we're not trying to get Sarge in trouble, but we just want to talk up, and we just want our weekends off. And so I was like, well, why not just ask him? They was like, well, you know, we thinking we had everybody sign the letter. Now, anybody know when you put something on paper, that's a totally different monster. In police department or corporate America, or well, that's just a totally different monster. You officially documenting something. And it was already a commander that, you know, some people didn't necessarily like him, not because he wasn't good at what he did. They just didn't want him to have the actual position, which was a whole totally different discussion. But so, you know, it was like, you know, well, everybody signed it but you. So I'm the last one. So they already knew they was going to have an issue with me looking, because I had to look. I was like, wait, hold on. So let me make sure. Now, remember, this is the police department. These are the people that come behind you to back you up. These are the individuals that are there to back you up at times. And now I'm telling y'all, in some places, people can be ruthless. So you never know how somebody is going to react. It may hesitate 2 or 3 minutes and then come. Well, that 2 or 3 minutes can do something to you. So let me just keep going, right? So now it's like you have everybody done signed it, but your boy. And he was like, oh, man, you just need your signature. No, sir, you don't need my signature. No. I'm not signing it. Now remember, we going back for standing up for your convictions, your own personal convictions. Do you have the power to stand up, the courage to stand up for your personal convictions? Let me pause here. What other things in your life right now, because we're talking about freedom, that you don't have the courage to stand up for your convictions respectfully? You ain't talking about you got to go out and be crazy, but from a respectful standpoint. Are you literally standing up for your convictions, or are you still being bound by certain things, right? Some things you have to stand alone. And I'm telling you guys, I wanted to sign it bad, not because of what they were saying, but just as a unit, a team player. I wanted to sign it, but I couldn't because my conviction was not to sign that. It's like this is going to do more harm than it will actually do good. And they were like, well, think about it. You can do whatever. I'm not going to sign it. I'm not for this, because we're not coming to the direct individual and conversing with him about it. We just going to jump over his head. And then now guess what happened? I say, they're going to act on this. Well, this is what happened. They submitted the letter to the commander, to the commanding officer. And within a few days, they had removed, listen to what I'm saying. They had removed him. They had removed him from the position. Yes, sir. They had removed him from the position. And they had sent him to a totally different district. Or if you're not in New Orleans, a totally different precinct. I mean, and as a matter of fact, it was a punishment because they sent them to one of the worst districts at night. Night watch. You're going from commanding something to now you're on the night watch in one of the worst districts precincts, right? So now everybody running around, well, we didn't want nothing to happen to him. Well, instead of y'all talking to him, now we gotta lie in his bed. Regardless for me, if I signed it or not, I still have to stand up for my actions and my convictions. So now everybody coming back and was like, oh, I should have never signed that, man. Man, we miss Sarge, blah, 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 and da, 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 da. All of these other things. Oh, it's too late now. Because people didn't have the courage to stand up for their convictions. They didn't have that courage to stand up for their convictions, right? I'm not saying I'm Superman, because there are other things I missed the boat on. But they didn't have the courage to stand up for their convictions in this particular scenario. And now what happens is, because we didn't stand up for our convictions, guess what happened? We got somebody that came in to take over that was absolutely horrible. I mean, it was just absolutely terrible. And when I say terrible, I mean, it was terrible. it was brutally terrible. Well, now they running around, and guess what happened? Not only did the unit start working Saturdays, we start having to work 7 days a week. Now you don't have your weekends off. Now you don't have the holidays off and all of this other stuff. And now everybody looking like, oh man, no, but you didn't stand up for your convictions. Today, in your freedom, you have to ask, what is it that I'm doing to stand up for my convictions? What is it that I'm doing that I need to reflect on my aspirations? Because this is my self-direction. I want to make sure that I'm being free. What is my decision making doing? Autonomy on my decision making. Making a choice based on my own interests, not somebody's external interest. So when you start putting those three together, and you start looking at, when you talk about the pure definition of how I write it out, is breaking free from internal bondage. Internal bondage. Fears are harmful patterns to live authentically. So family, I told you I'm closing this out. You talking about living authentically? You talking about being free? Start releasing those things that has nothing to do with you. Start releasing those things. I shared this last thing and then we out of here. I literally told a friend of mine that I am done. Family, I am done. Like putting on, not putting on, but like trying to be there for everybody and all this stuff. No, I have this joy and this peace that I can't even buy, but I'm so happy that I have it. How many of us have missed this boat that we're trying to live for somebody else or do something for somebody else or stay under bondage? Free yourself from it. Because when you free yourself from it, it's going to be absolutely amazing. Free yourself. There's a joy that's waiting for you. I'm speaking from knowledge. I'm speaking from what has happened to me. There's an internal and external joy that comes with being free. When you are truly, unequivocally free, you're gonna write the show and be like, Stanley, you were so right. I'm telling you guys, let's do what we have to do. Let's climb on out of here. We ain't even gonna be long today, but I wanted to share that because I love y'all. So listen, family, I'll see y'all next week. Hopefully some of these schedules can line up with some of my guests. We missing each other and all those things, but don't worry, we're gonna get it. We're gonna lock it in place. So for those that are traveling, be safe when you travel. I know graduation time is coming up, so happy graduation for the seniors, whether you're graduating high school, whether you're graduating college, whether you're getting your master's, your doctorate. Congratulations from Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette and all of the family all around the world. Mother's Day is coming up. Everybody gonna have that energy, but as I always say, keep that same energy for Father's Day. Yeah. Keep that same energy for Father's Day. So listen, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. And I'll see you guys next week on Let's Talk with Stanley Doucette. I'm out. Peace.